Marco, a 24-year-old young man living in a small village nestled between peaceful mountain ranges, carried a soul that was anything but calm like the scenery around him. Each passing day, Marco's mind was filled with tangled thoughts. Sad memories from the past quietly resurfaced, while worries about the future constantly closed in on him. His mind felt like a storm that never stopped. Marco felt exhausted by those endless thoughts. He struggled to sleep, struggled to concentrate, and had almost forgotten what it felt like to smile. Though he lived in a tranquil environment, there was no peace within him. The uneasiness grew day by day, making Marco feel as if he was slowly losing himself. In his most weary moments, Marco began to wonder why the people around him seemed able to live so comfortably, while he was dragged down by invisible thoughts. He longed for silence, for even a single moment when his mind could stop running. What he desired wasn't something grand, it was simply the feeling of peace within his own heart. And from that very longing, a new journey began to take shape in Marco's mind, a journey to regain the serenity he had lost for so long. The unending stream of thoughts made Marco's mind feel like a constant storm. He couldn't find even a moment of calm. At night, sleep became restless and heavy. Day by day, the smile slowly disappeared from his face. Marco felt himself being swept into a whirlpool of painful memories and vague fears about the future, to the point that he forgot the true meaning of living in the present. One day, in the midst of despair, Marco happened to hear the villagers speak of a faraway place in the hills. There lived a very wise old man, someone who had once been a famous psychologist in the city. Throughout his life, he had helped many people overcome suffering and find peace within their hearts. When he grew older, he left the noisy urban world to return to nature, choosing a simple but tranquil life. Even so, he still occasionally welcomed those who sought him for advice. The story of that man awakened in Marco a spark of hope he had long lost. He wondered whether the old sage could help him break free from the looping thoughts that imprisoned his mind. After many days of crossing winding paths and exhausting mountain slopes, Marco finally arrived at the village everyone had spoken about. It rested peacefully amid the greenery, as if completely separated from the noisy world beyond. He took a deep breath, feeling the fresh air fill his lungs, making the difficult journey he had endured seem a little lighter. At the end of a small path, Marco saw a simple house covered in vines and flowers. On its old wooden porch, an elderly man with silver hair sat quietly in meditation. His face was so serene that Marco felt as though even the passing of time could not touch him. This was the person Marco had traveled so far to find. Marco walked closer, careful not to make a sound. When he was near enough, he spoke softly. "Sir, my mind is always chaotic. I can't stop thinking. I can't find peace. I hope you can help me." The old man slowly opened his eyes. His gaze was gentle and deep, as if he could see through all the things Marco hadn't said. He smiled faintly, a smile that made Marco feel his heart settle. "If you are seeking peace," the old man said, "follow me. I have a small task for you." He led Marco to the backyard, where there was a wooden table and a clear glass cup. Without saying another word, the old man poured water into the cup, filling it so full that even the slightest shake could make it spill. Then he handed the cup to Marco and said, "Carry this cup of water from here to the end of the village and return. But remember, do not spill even a single drop." Marco was a bit surprised, but looking into the calm eyes of the old man, he understood that this challenge must carry an important meaning. He took a deep breath, carefully accepted the cup of water, and prepared to begin a task whose lesson he had yet to discover. Marco gently lifted the cup filled to the brim, feeling its weight clearly in his palm. Just a slight tilt and the first drop would spill. That forced him to keep his hands steady and his breathing calm. Even though he didn't know the purpose of the challenge, Marco reminded himself that he had to do his best. He stepped slowly onto the narrow village path. It was a lively road, children running around, adults buying and selling, dogs barking from afar, voices calling out to one another as on any ordinary day. But today, the world around Marco seemed to fade away. All his attention was focused on the tiny movements of the cup in his hands. Every step, every breath had to be calculated with precision. He didn't dare look left or right, afraid that even a quick glance might throw off his balance. Villagers who saw him walking in such a strange manner grew curious, but they did not disturb him. They simply watched with knowing eyes, understanding that the young man was in the middle of an important lesson. Though the road was crowded and full of noise, Marco heard nothing except the rhythm of his own heartbeat. There was no past pulling him back, no future worries intruding. Before him existed only one goal: to keep every drop of water inside that cup. Eventually, he reached the end of the village and made his way back. Throughout the entire journey, he didn't spill a single drop. When he returned to the old man's small house, Marco let out a long breath, feeling as though he had completed something far greater than a simple task. He handed the perfectly full cup back to the old man and waited for the explanation behind this mysterious challenge. When Marco returned with the cup still completely full, the old man looked at him with gentle eyes and nodded. Marco proudly said that he had completed the task without spilling a single drop. The old man smiled, but instead of praising him immediately, he softly asked, "While you were walking, did you see the children playing by the road? Did you hear the dogs barking or the people calling out to one another?" Marco was slightly taken aback. He shook his head and replied, "No, sir. I focused only on the cup. I didn't pay attention to anything around me." The old man smiled meaningfully, then said in a warm, steady voice, "That is exactly what you needed to learn. In the moment you focused entirely on the cup, your mind had no room for worries. No old memories came back, no fear of what lies ahead. Your heart had only one task: to keep that cup steady." He placed a hand on Marco's shoulder and continued, "When you live fully in the present, the storms inside you naturally quiet down. Peace doesn't come from the outside. It has always been within you, merely hidden beneath constant, restless thoughts. You just experienced a moment of true stillness, one that you created yourself." Those words awakened something in Marco. He suddenly understood that all this time, he had been chasing the past and the future, forgetting the one thing that was always within his reach: the present moment. As long as his mind stayed here, in the now, the chaos would fade. As the sun sank behind the mountain ridges, Marco bowed respectfully to the old man. He knew that this arduous journey had brought him a priceless lesson: to find peace. Let your mind rest in the moment you are living.